What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC 281. We have Israel Adesanya going against Alex Pereira.
I need all the wins, yeah. Harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out. Knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out.
And we are back breaking down a phenomenal card, a 14-fight card stacked from top to bottom, especially the pay-per-view. We have Adesanya Pereira for the middleweight championship. We have Zhang Weili going against Carla Esparza championship fight. And then we have Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler, which is a very good fight. And a couple other fights on the main card that I'm looking forward to. And just, like I said, the card in general, I think it's a really big step up from the cards we've got the last 2 weeks in the Apex. So I couldn't be more excited. I think it's going to be a very, very good card. Hopefully you guys are looking forward to it just as much as I am. Before we get started, if you guys can please leave a like on the video. One small like does go a very long way. You guys have been killing it with the likes lately. Also subscribe to the channel if you are not already. Now is a great time to sign up on DFSbythenumbers.com. We have 5 cards left, looking to end the year strong. Looking to get on a 3-event winning streak with a win this week. There are a couple spots that are sticking out. No bets yet, but I will be placing them very soon, probably today here. With that betting option, the $10 betting option a month, you get access to the stats you see on my Friday and Saturday show. You get first notice on all my bets. You get 2 betting articles. The first one on Wednesday, which is the big one, the full card and best bet article, where I break down the entire card, give my prediction, the round, the method, the best bet, and then rank the best bets in order, and then also rank the confidence ratings in order as well. And then the article on Friday, which explains all the bets I have, along with a prelim parlay, a main card parlay, and then a Hail Mary parlay as well. And of course, you get access to Discord and all those other perks as well. So make sure you guys sign up on DFSbythenumbers.com. I will say I do want to thank you guys so much. We're almost at 500 people that have signed up throughout the year. Kicked off the website in 2022. And we're almost at 500 people that signed up. So I appreciate you guys so much. It does mean a lot that people want to, A, support me, B, want some extra content, or C, just want both. So appreciate you guys so much there. And this is a pay-per-view card, so we're going to be doing the significant strike contest. And to enter that contest, first, leave a like. Second, make sure you are subscribed. And then third, comment down how many significant strikes you think that Adesanya and Alex Pereira are going to combine for. Whoever gets the closest, $25 to first. If there is a tie, the tiebreaker does go to the person that did comment first there. So comment down your significant strikes below. And yeah, other than that, that's about it. I say we get into it. We have a lot to talk about, 14 fights to go. I'll try to keep it under an hour, but we have Carlos Ulberg going against Nega-Mariano. We have Carlos Ulberg, who is 31 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach. He is 6-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Nega-Mariano, he is 28 years old. He is 6 foot with a 78-inch reach. He is 13-1, and he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So like we always do, we are going to take a look at the odds, and we have a closely lined fight here. Carlos Ulberg opened up minus 200. He's currently minus 122. Nega-Mariano opened up plus 170, and he's currently plus 102. So this is a kind of a tricky fight for me personally, because on the feet, it's Carlos Ulberg, and it's Carlos Ulberg all day, and it's not even close. Nega-Mariano has some of the worst striking defense I've ever seen in my life. I mean, it's worse than Priscilla Cachoeira's striking defense, who I always kind of crap on. I mean, it's bad. I mean, on paper, it's 39%. And, I mean, you can see it in the fights. I mean, this is a guy that just kind of walks forward. He eats your best shot, and he has the chin to do it. He has the chin to back it up, to get hit. But, my goodness, I mean, the guy is just a walking punching bag. Absorbing 5.69 significant strikes per minute. Just no regards for his health at all in there. But he's a madman. I mean, this guy has a chin on him. I mean, the guy has a brick head. So, I mean, he can get away with it. But, my goodness, on the feet, it should be Ulberg all day. Where I think Nega-Mariano could potentially win this fight, and this is the one big question mark I have, and this is why I don't know if I can bet on the fight, is how good or how bad is Carlos Ulberg's takedown defense. I have not seen much of it. In the UFC, on paper, it's 100%, but he has only defended 1 takedown against Kennedy and Nzechukwu. Nega-Mariano, to win this fight, he's going to have to get the takedowns in this matchup. He's going to have to make this dirty. He's going to have to push Carlos Ulberg against the cage. And like I said, I'm not sure how good Carlos Ulberg's takedown defense is. So some narrative, Ulberg is training at City Kickboxing. He is training with Israel Adesanya. We know Adesanya's takedown defense is elite. So I'm thinking he has good takedown defense, and if that is the case, I think he makes this look easy. Like I said, on the feet, it's night and day. I think he's the much better striker. I mean, Nikolai Nega-Mariano was getting, cleanly outstruck by Kennedy Nzechukwu. And in that fight, Kennedy Nzechukwu outlanded him like 95 to 64. So, I mean, yeah, on the feet, it's Ulberg all day. It's just, can he stuff a takedown or not? Like I said, it's kind of narrative, but, he's training with Izzy. I think his takedown defense should be good. He did show some offensive wrestling in the fight against Sharon as well. So I'll say that he does stuff the takedowns. I'll say he does keep it at range. And I'm going to say Ulberg does outpoint Nega-Mariano to a decision. He's not knocking this guy out unless he brings a baseball bat or, something, a steel chair, I don't know, a table. He's not knocking out Nikolai Nega-Mariano. This guy's chin is just ridiculous, but he gets hit a lot. So give me Ulberg to win. Give me Ulberg to win this one by decision. All right, next we have Montel Jackson going against Julio Arce. We have Montel Jackson, 30 years old, 5'10", with a 75.5-inch reach, 11-2. And he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Julio Arce, 33 years old, 5'7", with a 70-inch reach, 18-5, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds here, and we have Montel Jackson opening up a -150 favorite, currently -200. Julio Arce opening up a +130 dog, currently +170. And the biggest thing that sticks out to me is the tail of the tape here. Montel Jackson is going to have a 3-inch height advantage. He's going to have a 5.5-inch reach advantage, and he's also 3 years younger. Montel Jackson is huge for the bantamweight division, and Montel Jackson's power was the one other thing that did stick out to me big time. I mean, this guy has so much power at bantamweight. I think he has 8 or 9 UFC fights. The guy has 10 knockdowns. 10 knockdowns. And 4 of those were against, JP Vlismas, but regardless, I mean, he has a ton of power at this weight class, whereas Arce, I think he's a good striker. I think his takedown defense is good, and that's going to come into play here. But Arce only has 1 knockdown in like 8 fights in the UFC. So, I mean, it's telling who is going to have the power advantage. So Jackson's going to have that power advantage. Jackson's going to have the youth. He's going to have the size. And he's a really good wrestler. I mean, Jackson's landing over 4 takedowns per 15 minutes. He's completing those takedowns at a 78% clip. And again, that's in an 8-9 fight sample. I mean, that's very impressive to me. On the flip side, Arce, his takedown defense is very impressive as well at 94%. But if you look deeper into that, you're seeing that, nobody's really trying to take him down outside of Dan Ige. Dan Ige went like 1 for 13. I think Jackson could potentially get him down here. So, if this fight doesn't hit the mat, I guess it could be close. But, I mean, the bigger shots are going to be coming from Montel Jackson. It wouldn't shock me if he got another knockdown on his resume here. So, I do like Montel Jackson. I like the youth, the height, the reach, the length, the power, the wrestling. I like a lot about Montel Jackson in this matchup. But, Julio Arce, he's a tough guy to deal with. He throws a lot of volume. He's very defensively sound, 69% striking defense. His takedown defense is very good. But I just like Jackson in this matchup to get it done and get it done by decision. Mixing in the takedowns, landing the bigger shots, and taking that decision. So give me Montel Jackson to win. Give me Montel Jackson to win a decision. All right, moving on. We have Seungwoo Choi going against Mike Trizano. We have Seungwoo Choi, who is 30 years old, 6 foot, with a 74.5-inch reach. He is 10-5 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We have Mike Trizano, 30 years old, 5'11", with a 71-inch reach, 9-3 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here, and we have Seungwoo Choi as a favorite. Open at -180, currently -162. Mike Trizano open up +155. He's currently +142. And I think this is a very winnable matchup for Seungwoo Choi. Seungwoo Choi kind of surprised me in his last fight. So he was a big favorite against Josh Culibao in his last fight. And he did not, he showed toughness in that fight. I mean, he got dropped twice. It was a competitive fight, but getting dropped wasn't the best look. But honestly, I think Josh Culibao is super underrated. So I don't think it's the worst loss in the world. I think Josh Culibao is an absolute dog. And that fight was, such a good, like one of the best fights of the year. I think it's a very underrated fight there. And it was on a card where we had Teixeira Prochazka, so everybody forgot about it. But no, that fight was freaking exciting. But yeah, he lost to Josh Kulabau, which was a kind of a shock to me because, I mean, when you take a look at Sung Woo Choi, what does he typically struggle with? And that is the ground game. And that is something he has, worked on throughout his career in the UFC. But, he steps in against Movsar Evloev in his debut, probably the worst possible debut you can ever take against Movsar. And Evloev goes out there and takes him down 5 times. The next fight, they don't do him any favors, gives him Gavin Tucker. Gavin Tucker takes him down 5 times as well, submits him. And then Alex Caceres takes his back standing in the second round a couple fights ago, submits him. So when he's kind of struggling, it's because guys are trying to take him down. When he gets these striking fights, he should be able to go out there and beat a lot of these guys. I mean, Sung Woo Choi's striking is very good. And what I noticed, recently, every single time Sung Woo Choi shows up, I mean, the guy just seems to level up, but it was just last fight. He just did not look how I expected him to look. So, but man, he should win this fight. I mean, Mike Trizano, he's not taking anybody down. I think Mike Trizano maybe has 1 takedown in the UFC, maybe 2 takedowns. I think he got 1 against Pena, maybe got 1 against Hakeem Dawodu, but did nothing with it. Trizano's going to strike with Sung Woo Choi. And, I didn't think Trizano, looked good in his last fight against Lucas Almeida. Almeida dropped him twice. Almeida outlanded him 75-31. Prior to that, Hakeem Dawodu outlanded him 2-1, 141-70. I think Sung Woo Choi should win this fight and win it, pretty cleanly. I think Sung Woo Choi hits very hard. I think he hits much harder than Mike Trizano, and I think he's the better striker. I think if somebody goes for takedowns in this fight, honestly, it could be Choi. Choi has worked on that takedown game. He took down Yusuf Zalal twice. He took down Gavin Tucker even twice. He took down Josh Kulabau as well. So I just like Sung Woo Choi in this matchup. It could be close. Trizano fights typically play out close more often than not, but this should be a fight that Choi goes out there and gets it done. So give me Choi to win, and Choi to win this one by decision. What's interesting about this one is both guys are on 2-fight losing streaks. So winner or loser probably does get cut here. So both guys probably fighting for their jobs here, which is going to make for an even more interesting fight. But give me Sung Woo Choi to win, and give me Sung Woo Choi to win this one by decision. All right, next we have Karolina Kowalkiewicz going against Silvana Gomez Juarez. We have Karolina Kowalkiewicz, who is 37 years old, 5'3", with a 64-inch reach, 13-7, and 1-4 in her last 5 fights. Silvana Gomez Juarez, 37 years old, 5'3", with a 63-inch reach, 11-4, and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Karolina Kowalkiewicz, slight favorite, open at -170, currently -114. Silvana Gomez Juarez, open up +145, currently -106. So money is coming in on Silvana Gomez Juarez, and this is a sketchy fight. This is probably the sketchiest fight on the card for me. And the reason being is because, last fight, I wasn't sure that, Karolina was going to first win that fight. I think I did end up picking her, but I definitely did not bet the fight. But, B, I thought at the end of the fight, she was going to retire. I mean, I'm surprised she did not retire after that Felice Herrig fight, maybe go out with a win. I honestly thought both Felice Herrig and Karolina Kowalkiewicz were potentially going to retire, and one of them did. Felice Herrig did retire, so I was half right. But, I just don't trust Karolina Kowalkiewicz. She has looked awful in her last several fights. She looked good against Felice Herrig. She got the submission, but again, Felice Herrig was on her way out. Felice Herrig retired. So, how much stock do we really put into that performance? This is just a weird matchup because Silvana Gomez Juarez, I don't think she's the best fighter in the world, but, what does she struggle with? And the answer to that is her takedown defense. Her takedown defense is atrocious. Her ground game is even worse. She's been submitted a couple times. Is Karolina going to go out here and wrestle? If she does, she can potentially find the submission. She submitted Felice Herrig her last time out, but you take a look at Karolina Kowalkiewicz in her career, and that's just not her game at all. That is not her game. She has, only a handful of takedowns in the UFC. She got 1 against Jessica Penne, which was not smart, and then she got 1 against Jodie Escobel, and that's literally it. And she's been in the UFC since 2015. Has 2 takedowns to show for it. So is she going to go out there and take down Silvana Gomez Juarez? I just don't buy it. I think she's going to strike with Silvana Gomez Juarez, and when she does that, I think she's in trouble. Silvana Gomez Juarez, for 115 pounds, she hits like a truck. She hits hard. She dropped Vanessa Demopoulos very hard, almost knocked her out. She knocks out the very handsome Liang Na. in the first round of that fight. That was a brutal knock. I mean, she has a ton of power. She's a finisher. She's a very, very good finisher. Carolina, she absorbs a lot of strikes. Carolina absorbs 5.59 negative significant strike differential. She gets hit, and she gets hit a lot, and I have a feeling she's going to get hit a lot in this matchup, and if she does, I think there's a good chance she gets dropped. She potentially gets knocked out, and Carolina typically has been very tough throughout her career. 20 fights, 3 finished losses, only one by knockout, but Savannah's power is just ridiculous. So I'm actually going to take Savannah to win by knockout. She has an 82% finish rate, 64% of those coming by knockout. I'm going to say Savannah Juarez does knock out Carolina, and I'm going to say she does it in the first round. If Carolina grapples, then clear path to victory. It's just I cannot count on her to do that. She's never done that in her entire career. So give me Savannah Juarez to win, and give me Savannah Juarez to win by first round knockout. Yes, I'm picking a strawweight to get a knockout in the first round, but we did see 2 strawweights last week get knockouts as well. So hopefully the trend continues. I mean, these strawweights, some of these strawweights hit hard, including Savannah Juarez. So give me Juarez to win by first round KO. Speaking of hitting hard, we have Ottman Azaitar going against Matt Frevola. It's the big return of our guy, Ottman Azaitar. He's 32 years old, 5'8", 71-inch reach. He's 13-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Matt Frevola, 32 years old, 5'9", 71-inch reach, 9-3, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. These odds have closed fast. Frevola opened up plus 105. He went to like minus 150 for a week or two, and he's currently minus 111. And Ottman Azaitar is currently minus 109. So about a pick him here. And I do expect the line to potentially flip in favor of Ottman Azaitar here. I think a lot of people are very high on him this week. And it's another one of those kind of sketchy fights where, we have not seen Ottman Azaitar in a while. He fought against Kama Worthy 2 years and 1 month ago. And then he beat Pacquiao by knockout in the first round. And that was 3 years ago. So very inactive. I'm sure a lot of you guys know, but he was supposed to fight Matt Frevola, actually, on Fight Island, and there was that whole just ridiculous potato incident where somebody was climbing the building to deliver potatoes, and the fight got canceled due to COVID protocols. So that happened. First time in UFC that's ever happened, but nonetheless, they're back, and they're going to fight, and this is a good fight. I mean, this is my favorite fight on the prelims. This is a very exciting fight. What makes this fight hard, and I wish I knew what was going on in Frevola's camp, and I wish I knew the game plan, because if I knew the game plan, it'd be an easy pick here. But there's 2 versions of Matt Frevola. The first version is just the wild version of Matt Frevola, the guy that loves to fight, the guy that loves to get into an absolute war, an absolute brawl. And we saw that in the Genaro Valdez fight his last time out, knocking down Valdez 4 times, getting stung a couple times himself. We saw it, I guess, in the 7 seconds of the McKenny fight before McKenny knocked him out. We saw it for sure in the Lando Venado fight where he got dropped twice. And we saw it in the Marco Polo Reyes fight where he got dropped twice, knocked out by Marco Polo Reyes because he wanted to stand and bang with Marco Polo Reyes. So we've seen him go to war in a lot of fights, but there's this other version of Matt Frevola who fights very smart, goes for takedowns. He went and fought, Luis Pena, took him down 4 times, wanted a split decision. He went and fought Jalen Turner, a very dangerous Jalen Turner. He took him down 4 times, won a decision. Is Matt Frevola going to come out here and take down Ottman Azaitar, who I've seen taken down super easy outside the UFC? Or is he going to go out there and stand and bang with Ottman Azaitar until one man falls? I'll tell you right now, if he wants to stand and bang with Ottman Azaitar, his head is going to go into the 15th. I mean, Ottman Azaitar's power is ridiculous, and I think Terrence McKinney hits super hard. I think, a lot of these guys, I think Jalen Turner hits hard. I think Lando Venata hits hard. Even Marco Polo Reyes, I don't think he's good, but I think he hits hard. This is going to be the hardest hitter Matt Frevola has fought in the UFC. I mean, Azaitar's power is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So yeah, is he going to stand and bang with him? Or is he going to fight smart, take him down? I'm assuming Azaitar's takedown defense has improved because I'm watching these fights and they're a while ago. Like I said, the guy's very inactive, and he is getting taken down super easy. And he's training with good guys nowadays. I saw he's training with like Umar Nurmagomedov and those guys. So I'm guessing his takedown defense has gotten better. But yeah, I mean, the path to victory is there for Matt Frevola, but I don't trust him to take it. I think he's going to go out there and get into a fight of the night type performance with Azaitar, and I don't think it's going to end well with him. I mean, this is not Genaro Valdez. This is Azaitar, and he hits hard. He hits very, very hard. So I'm going to say he knocks out Matt Frevola in the very first round. Brutal knockout. I don't think Matt Frevola has a good chin. I don't think it'd be wise to do it, but I just have a feeling he's going to stand and bang with this guy. Matt Frevola, he's been hurt a lot. Got knocked out in 7 seconds by Terrence McKinney. He got dropped twice by Lena Venata. Like I said, dropped twice by Poirier. I mean, he's been dropped a ton. He's been knocked out a ton. He's been hurt a ton. And I think he gets another knockout loss here against Azaitar. Azaitar, for me, give me Azaitar to win by first round knockout. Cannot wait for that fight. Okay, moving on, we have Andre Petroski going against Wellington Turman. Kind of a weird fight here. We have Petroski, 31 years old, 6 foot with a 73-inch reach, 8-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Wellington Turman, 26 years old, 6 foot with a 72-inch reach, 18-5, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Petroski, pretty big favorite, opening up -190, currently currently -200. Wellington Turman opening up +165, currently +170. So this is interesting. I mean, man, I'm not completely sold on Andre Petroski yet. He's a good wrestler. He's a good grappler. But man, I'm watching his fights, and I mean, he's looking tired in the very first round. Against Zhang, he was looking very tired at the end of the first round, and he was able to push through it. Props to him. He was able to get the late finish in the Zhang fight. He was able to get the late finish in the Gilmore fight, but I mean, Zhang is the worst fighter in UFC history. Zhang is 3-3 in MMA, went 0-3 in the UFC. I mean, worst fighter. I can't think of a worse fighter than Zhang, and he was providing no resistance against Andre Petroski. Petroski was just teeing off on him on the feet. Zhang looked like crap. Easy fight. And don't even get me started about Michael Gilmore. Michael Gilmore, he went 0-2 in the UFC. 2 finished losses. He's been cut. And then he's 6-5. I mean, look at this level of competition for Petroski. I mean, he's looking good, and people like the guy, but my goodness, he submits Nick Maximov in the first round, and Maximov's a -350 favorite in that fight. He submits Maximov. Where's Maximov now? Maximov's been cut. So, I mean, yes, he's looking good. Okay, he's looking good, but he's looking good against Michael Gilmore, Zhang, and Nick Maximov. I'm just still not completely sold on Andre Petroski really at all. I'm not sold on his cardio. We saw in the Tough House where, Brian Battle provided some resistance. And in the second round, Petroski tired out. He shot in on a sloppy takedown, and he got caught in a submission against Brian Battle. I think that's kind of live to happen here. I mean, Wellington Turman, he's going to provide some resistance. Wellington Turman, a lot of people think he's a bum. I've seen a lot of people call him a bum already this week, but he's not Zhang. He's not Michael Gilmore. I mean, he's a legit black belt in BJJ, training with very good guys. I believe he trains with Glover Teixeira, those guys, Rodolfo Vieira, those guys. 85% takedown defense. I think his striking's coming along. I mean, black belt in BJJ. I mean, this guy is not a complete bum. He's not the best fighter in the world, but he's only 26 years old. We can still see improvements from Wellington Turman, especially training with those guys. Back-to-back wins against Sam Alvey in a fight where he lost 2 points, still won the decision. A very interesting submission win against Misha Serkinov, who, by the way, is a black belt. Armbar from guard. When do you ever see an armbar from guard in the middleweight division? You don't ever see that. I just think it's a close fight. I'm still not sold on the cardio Petroski. Still not sold on this guy as a whole. And, Wellington Turman, like I said, people crap on the guy. People think he sucks. But, I mean, he's fought good competition. He's fought Misha Serkinov, Bruno Silva, Andrew Sanchez, guys like that. Whereas, like I said, Petroski's fighting the bottom. You can't get any worse than Zhang Hu. You can't get any worse than Michael Gilmore. So I'm actually going to take the pretty big upset here with Wellington Turman. I think Petroski is going to have success early. And then as the fight goes on, like I said, I don't trust his cardio. I'm going to say Turman gets a late finish. I'm going to say Turman wins this one by third round submission and pulls off the big upset here. So give me Turman by third round sub. Next we have Aaron Blanchfield going against Molly McCann. We have Aaron Blanchfield, 23 years old, 5'4", with a 68-inch reach, 9-1 and 5-0 in her last 5 fights. Molly McCann, 32 years old, 5'4", with a 62-inch reach, 13-4 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Aaron Blanchfield, the biggest favorite on the card, opening up minus 500, currently minus 425. Molly McCann opening up plus 375, currently plus 325. And this fight doesn't make a lot of sense to me as to why Molly McCann took this fight. I mean, she's starting to get hype. I mean, people are starting to really like Molly McCann. She's with Patty, dynamic duo there. They signed a deal with Barstool Sports, all the good stuff, and a lot of hype starting to come about Molly McCann here out of nowhere. But why would she take this fight? Why would she take this fight? And she was talking about fighting Antonina Shevchenko, Valentina's sister. I mean, that was a perfect matchup. Take that matchup. But to fight Aaron Blanchfield, to me, it's just a very big mistake from Molly McCann, because it's a horrible matchup. It's a terrible matchup against Aaron Blanchfield, and she's a big favorite for a reason. And I think she pays off that price tag, and I think she makes it look easy here. I mean, I went back and watched some Molly McCann fights, and the one that sticks out that scares the crap out of me from Molly McCann is just last year, back in 2021, Laura Procopio, who has now been cut, just ragdolled Molly McCann. I mean, she made it look easy. She took her down 7 times. She controlled Molly McCann for 11 minutes and 43 seconds. Laura Procopio was doing that. Aaron Blanchfield is no joke. Aaron Blanchfield, just going back and seeing what she did to Miranda Maverick, just ragdolling Miranda Maverick, taking her down 7 times. The beating she put on Sarah Alpar. I think this looks a lot like that Procopio fight, if not worse. Procopio was able to just dominate her, takedown after takedown after easy. Molly McCann's takedown defense is 46%. That's not good. That's not good, especially in this matchup. So I think Molly McCann's making a big mistake. Molly, it's not too late to pull out. It's not too late. Because what are you doing? Fight Antonina or something. It's Blanchfield. It's Blanchfield all day. And honestly, it's maybe even Blanchfield inside the distance. I think Blanchfield is very live for a finish in this one. She was close to finishing Maverick. She had her in the crucifix at one point. Almost submitted her at one point as well. I think she almost got an armbar. It was super close to finishing her. Man, this is bad. Sure, a lot of people are going to be rooting for Molly, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, is she going to knock out Blanchfield? I highly doubt it. I think she's going to be on her back for the entire time, and I think she probably gets finished. So I'm going to take Blanchfield to win. I'll say Blanchfield wins this one by submission. Molly has been submitted before and in the UFC before by Jillian Robertson, and I think she gets another submission loss here by Aaron Blanchfield. Just a matchup that does not make a ton of sense to me as to why Molly took the fight, but yeah, 3-fight winning streak is going to be snapped more than likely. So give me Blanchfield to win. Give me Blanchfield to win this one by sub. Okay, next we have a fight that, this is a fight that would headline an Apex card, right? This is a main event on a fight night card. We have Dominic Reyes going against Ryan Spann. Dominic Reyes, 32 years old, 6'4", with a 77-inch reach, 12-3, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Ryan Spann, 33 years old, 6'5", with an 81.5-inch reach, 20-7 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. Dominic Reyes is a decent-sized favorite, opening up minus 195, currently minus 210. Ryan Spann opening up plus 170, currently plus 180. This is a weird fight because Dominic Reyes, obviously we know at this point, he almost beat John Jones, right? He went to a very close decision with John Jones. That was a few fights ago. And what I kind of noticed was since that Jon Jones fight, Dominic Reyes has looked like absolute crap. Just looked like absolute crap. I mean, that Jan Blachowicz fight was disgusting. I mean, he was looking horrible. And not only did he get knocked out, I mean, he got knocked out, so what? Just up until then, just looking awful. Just very hesitant, not throwing anything, getting out-volumed by Jan Blachowicz. It made no sense to me. And I think a lot of that has to do with, I mean, you're listening to this guy's interviews on Fight Week, and all he's talking about is Jon Jones. I beat Jon Jones. I want to rematch Jon Jones. I mean, dude, like, focus on Jan Blachowicz. He's a tough opponent. Focus on Jerry Prochazka, but no. Even on the Jerry Prochazka Fight Week, I beat Jon Jones. I'm going to rematch that guy one day. No, just focus on your opponent. There's no way he should lose to Ryan Spann. There's absolutely no way he should lose to Ryan Spann. This is Dominic Reyes all day. But if he's still out here on Fight Week talking about, I beat Jon Jones, I mean, that's a red flag to me because, dude, like, focus on get a win. I mean, you're 0-3 in your last 3 fights. The last win you had was back in 2019. 3 years ago? The last win was 3 years ago? So, I don't know. I don't trust Dominic Reyes. I want to listen to his interviews. I want to see if he's motivated to even fight at this point. I mean, 3 fight skid, looking like crap, and yes, he got knocked out by Yuri. No shame in that. Yes, he got knocked out by Jan Blachowicz. No shame in that. I didn't think he looked good in that fight, but no shame in that. Not the end of the world. If you lose to Ryan Spann, that is the end of the world. That is a horrible look if you lose to Ryan Spann, Dominic Reyes. So yeah, I got to go Reyes. I got to go Reyes all day. It's just we have not seen this guy in a year and 6 months. Where's his head at? Since that Jon Jones fight, I really question where Dominic Reyes' head's at. But yeah, on the feet, it's Reyes all day, and it's not even close. Ryan Spann got outlanded against Sam Alvey. Ryan Spann got dropped against Sam Alvey. Ryan Spann got dropped twice against Anthony Smith. I can tell you right now, Dominic Reyes hits much harder than Anthony Smith and Sam Alvey, probably combined. Give me Dominic Reyes. Give me Dominic Reyes by knockout in the first round. If he loses this fight, he should be ashamed of himself. I mean, we can excuse the Yuri loss. We can excuse the Jan loss, the Jones loss. If he loses this, that's inexcusable. Dominic Reyes, the much better striker. Dominic Reyes, phenomenal takedown defense. He should not be able to get taken down here. Dominic Reyes should not lose this fight. It's just, how can you trust him? How can you trust him? So I'm going to take Reyes to win. I'm going to take Reyes to win by first round knockout. But yeah, this fight's interesting, and I cannot wait to watch it. As far as betting on it, probably not the best idea. But give me Dominic Reyes to win by first round KO. All right, next we have the featured prelim. We have Renato Moicano going against Brad Riddell. We have Brad Riddell, who is 31 years old, 5'7", with a 71.5-inch reach, 10-3, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Renato Moicano, 33 years old, 5'11", 72-inch reach, 16-5-1, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So we have Moicano opening up as a pick'em, currently minus 125, and then Brad Riddell opened up minus 110, currently plus 105. So this line kind of surprises me. People really love Brad Riddell, so I was thinking maybe would be the favorite here. It's actually Moicano that's the favorite, and I do tend to agree with that. But it is a close fight. Brad Riddell obviously training at City Kickboxing with Izzy and Ulberg, guys like that. Moicano, though, I mean, Moicano's well-rounded. Moicano, very tall for the division. Moicano's going to have a 4-inch height advantage. He's going to have a half of inch of reach as well. And he's a good striker. He's a very good striker, a very dangerous striker as well. What's kind of interesting with Moicano, though, is Moicano has 0 knockouts, which is interesting. 0 knockouts, but he does have a ton of submissions. His ground game is very, very good, Moicano's. We saw him go out there in his last fight, and it was kind of a weird fight, a weird main event where he went out there against RDA, I think on short notice. He showed a lot of toughness, but that's really about it. I mean, RDA just beat the living breaks off him, but he showed toughness. I mean, that's about it. But yeah, before that, he went out there and he submitted Alexander Hernandez, looked really good in that fight. Submitted Jai Herbert, looked really good in that fight. And what I noticed was, especially late, like Moicano is doing something I really like to see. And he's shooting takedowns. Prior to that, the Herbert fight, the Hernandez fight, the dude was not getting really any takedowns at all. I mean, he had 0 against Tehugov, 0 against Calvin Kattar, 1 against Cub Swanson, 0 against Jose Aldo, 0 against the Korean Zombie, 0 against Fiziev. But, in that Herbert fight, he got 5 takedowns. I love to see that because this guy's ground game is no joke. Against Alexander Hernandez, 2 takedowns. I love to see that. So, yeah, if he comes in here and he strikes with Brad Riddell, could he win that fight? Honestly, I think he can make it close. I mean, Moicano's striking is very good. It wasn't too long ago where he went out there and outstruck Calvin Kattar across 3 rounds, outlanding him 116-41. But, I mean, he's going to have to get this fight down to the mat. He's going to have to take down Brad Riddell. If he does that, I think, honestly, he makes it look pretty easy. Brad Riddell's 62% takedown defense. We did see him get hurt against Jalen Turner his last fight and then submitted shortly after. 45 seconds, Jalen Turner got him out of there. Rafael Fiziev knocked him out as well. So, yeah, Brad Riddell has been finished, and he has been finished quite a few times. He's been finished once by knockout and twice by sub. So I think the submission is very live for Renato Moicano here, as long as he wrestles, and I kind of trust him to do it. So, yeah, I like Moicano to win here. I like him to take it down to the mat. I like him to be competitive on the feet, but once he does hit the mat, I mean, this guy's ground game is no joke, and I think he has what it takes to submit Brad Riddell. So I'll take Moicano to win. I'll take Moicano to win this one by submission. All right, next we have the main card, 5-fight main card, phenomenal main card. Looking forward to each and every single one of these fights. We have Dan Hooker going against Claudio Puelles. We have Dan Hooker, who is 32 years old, 6 foot, with a 76.5-inch reach, 21-12 and 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Claudio Puelles, 26 years old, 5'10", 72-inch reach, 12-2 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here, and we have Dan Hooker opening up -200, currently -151. Claudio Puelles opening up +170, currently +131. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to disagree with this pick, but I really like Dan Hooker this week. I've seen a lot of people say that Dan Hooker's a bum, Dan Hooker is washed, and if you go to my Twitter, DFS_numbers, I posted a pretty good clip that I think a lot of you would like in terms of the level of competition of Dan Hooker. I mean, it's just really hard for me to call Dan Hooker a washed bum. I mean, at the end of the day, he's only 32 years old, and he cut down to 145 for the first time in a while in his last fight against Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen, a guy that, in my opinion, is going to fight for a title very soon. Very soon. And he got knocked out in the first round. Should he have been cutting down to 145? No, he should not have. Is it the end of the world because he got knocked out by Arnold Allen? No, it's not. I mean, Arnold Allen's a beast, man. Prior to that, he took a short notice fight against Islam Makhachev, champion. Got submitted in the first round. Is that the end of the world? No, I mean, Arnold Allen and Islam Makhachev, they are much better than Claudio Puelles. And I mean, it's not even close. Prior to that, he beat Nasrat Haqparast. I was at that fight. Just a masterclass. I mean, he shut out Nasrat Haqparast, outlanded him 73-27, even mixed in some takedowns. So I don't think he's washed. I mean, I just thought he ran into some very tough matchups. Prior to that, got knocked out by Michael Chandler. Chandler hits like a truck. Lost a close decision against Dustin Poirier. I had a max bet on Poirier. I was sweating bullets. I thought that was a close fight. So yeah, I mean, I don't think he's washed. I mean, I just think he's fought Arnold Allen. I think he's fought Islam Makhachev, Michael Chandler, Dustin Poirier. I mean, this is a big step down in competition for Dan Hooker. This is going to be one of the easiest fights for Dan Hooker in a very long time, in years. If he loses this fight, then yes, we can start the whole washed. Yes, he's a bum. I mean, then you can call him a washed bum. But I'm not convinced he's a washed bum just yet. Claudio Puelles, he's young. He's a great grappler. He has 3 knee bars in the UFC. And he's knee bar or bust. I mean, this feels a lot like the Volkan Oezdemir fight to me against Paul Craig. Everyone was on Paul Craig. Everyone was on that submission chance, that, puncher's chance, but submission chance, right? And we all saw how that, I think it looks the exact same, if not worse. I think Dan Hooker beats the crap out of Puelles. I mean, Puelles' striking's not good. Yes, he submits Clay Guida. Guida's been submitted, I think, 10 plus times. Yes, he submits Chris Grutzmacher, who, by the way, has been submitted like 5 or 6 times. A lot. Yes, he out-wrestles Jordan Levitt in a decision, who has no takedown defense. And he was a big dog in that matchup as well. Yes, he out-wrestles Marcus Mariano, who's horrible. And then, yes, he knee-bars Felipe Silva after getting his ass completely beat for 2.5 rounds. Claudio Puelles' striking is nowhere near the level of Dan Hooker. I mean, Puelles, he's going to need to get this fight down to the mat. Whether it's, getting takedowns, whether it's pulling guard, he's not going to want to strike with Dan Hooker. It's night and day. Dan Hooker's takedown defense is phenomenal, 78%. And he's fought really dangerous grapplers before. I mean, he fought, Gilbert Burns. He's a great grappler. He knocked him out in the first round. He fought, Jim Miller. He's a really good grappler. He knocked him out in the first round. I mean, Dan Hooker's fought some good grapplers, and he's beaten some good grapplers. So, yeah, I think Claudio Puelles is knee bar or bust. If you want to pick him by knee bar, then do it. But, yeah, I like Dan Hooker to get it done. I think Dan Hooker, honestly, just beats the crap out of Puelles on the feet. I mean, we've seen Puelles get beat up on the feet in a couple fights. The Martin Bravo fight was hard to watch. The Felipe Silva fight was hard to watch, and it probably could have been stopped, but he was able to get that Hail Mary knee bar. Is he going to get a Hail Mary knee bar in this matchup? Maybe. But I'm not counting on that. I'm counting on Dan Hooker, who's fought the much better competition, who has phenomenal takedown defense. He's not the worst grappler in the world. Yes, he got submitted by Islam Makhachev, but Islam's the only guy to submit him in the UFC. So, yeah, give me Dan Hooker to win. And I'm going to take Dan Hooker to win by like a first or second round knockout. I think he really hurts Puelles on the feet. I don't think it's close on the feet. Knee bar or bust. Knee bar or bust. So give me Dan Hooker to win. I'll take Dan Hooker to win by KO. All right, if you guys did not like that last pick, you are definitely not going to like this one. We have Frankie Edgar going against Chris Gutierrez. We have Chris Gutierrez, who is 31 years old, 5'9", with a 67-inch reach, 18-3-2 and 4-0-1 in his last 5 fights. Frankie Edgar, 41 years old, 5'6", with a 68-inch reach, 24-10-1 and 1-4 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. Chris Gutierrez opened up as a -130 favorite, currently -220. Frankie Edgar opened up +110, currently +185. And this is an interesting matchup because I think it's a very winnable matchup for Frankie Edgar. I think it's a very, very winnable matchup for Frankie Edgar. Kind of like the last fight. I mean, take a look at who Frankie Edgar has been fighting as of late. And it's a big step down for Frankie Edgar. And I see what he's doing here. Frankie. It's probably a retirement fight. Wants to potentially go out on a win. He's taking a giant step down. I mean, going from Marlon Vera, Corey Sandhagen, Pedro Munoz, Korean Zombie, Max Holloway, Brian Ortega, Yair Rodriguez, Jose Aldo, Oliveira back in the day, BJ Penn back in the day. I mean, this is a giant. I mean, this is one of Frankie Edgar's easier fights ever. I mean, this, honestly, this could be Frankie Edgar's, one of his easiest fights in the UFC. And stylistically, I think it's a really winnable matchup for him. It's just the big, glaring red flag, and it's that age there. He's 41, and he's at bantamweight. We did see some 41-year-old bantamweights win as of late, but Chris Gutierrez is good. He's a very good striker. Phenomenal leg kicks, very hard leg kicks, hits hard. Got a nice knockout win in his last fight against Tanat Bakary. But, I go and watch Chris Gutierrez, and man, he's going a split decision with Felipe Calorish just 2 fights ago. I mean, the same Felipe Calorish that got completely dominated by Chase Hooper, that Felipe Calorish. Calorish was able to take him down. And I will say, Gutierrez's takedown defense is good. It's just his get-up game, I don't like what I see from his get-up game. He can be stuck on bottom. Andre Yold takes him down. Tanat Bakary takes him down. Cody Durden takes him down twice. 10-8s him in the first round. He doesn't get up the entire first round. Geraldo de Freitas takes him down twice. Hani Barcelos takes him down and subs him. I mean, Frankie Edgar's a good wrestler. I mean, Frankie Edgar's attempted over 200 takedowns, well over 200 takedowns. I think it's 242 takedowns attempted. in the UFC in Frankie Edgar. And even on the feet, like, Edgar's not a terrible, he has a horrible chin at this point, but, can we forgive him a little bit for, getting kicked in the face by Marlon Vera? I mean, I think that would have knocked out most people in the division. Can we forgive him just a tad for getting knocked out by Corey Sandhagen with that flying knee? I think that would have knocked out most people. Can we forgive him just a little bit for getting knocked out by the Korean Zombie? Just a little bit? Man, I mean, it's such a winnable matchup for Frankie Edgar. I gotta pick him here. One last ride with Frankie Edgar. I think it's a winnable match. I mean, if he fights, and I expect him to go for takedowns here. Chris Gutierrez, I don't think his takedown defense is the best. It's okay. And I don't think his get-up game's there at all. I mean, I think Frankie Edgar, at the end of the day, like, Frankie Edgar went out there and won 2 rounds against Marlon Vera just a fight ago. His last fight. So, yes, he's washed. Yes, this is probably his last fight, but he won 2 rounds against Marlon Vera, taking down Marlon Vera in the first round, controlling him for 3 minutes, and then taking down Marlon Vera in the second round and controlling him for over a minute. And then he gets knocked down in the third round. So, it is what it is. But, yeah, I'm going to take Edgar to win here, and I'm going to take Edgar to win this one by decision. I think he mixes in takedowns. I think he wins minutes on the mat, controls Chris Gutierrez, and I think the striking is going to be a little bit more competitive than people think, but those leg kicks definitely do scare me. But I'll take Edgar. I'll take Edgar to win this one by decision, pulling off a pretty big upset. One more ride. Frankie Edgar, 41 years old. Big step down. We'll see if he can get it done, but I'll take Frankie Edgar to get the upset win here by decision. All right. Next we have... This is my favorite fight on the card. I know we have, Zhang Weili to talk about. We have Adesanya, Pereira to talk about. This is my favorite fight on the card. We have Dustin Poirier, Michael Chandler. Poirier, 33 years old, 5'9" with a 73-inch reach, 28-7 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Michael Chandler, 36 years old, 5'8", 71.5-inch reach, 23-7 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here, and we have Dustin Poirier opening up -200, currently -220. Michael Chandler opening up +170, currently +185. So Dustin Poirier, decent-sized favorite here, and I agree with that. Michael Chandler, he's now 36 years old. He's taken a ton of damage. I don't trust his chin at all. I mean, he took a ton of damage in that Gaethje fight. But yeah, he's been knocked out quite a few times. He's been knocked out 4 times to be exact. And Dustin Poirier, his power's legit. I think his powers looked better than ever as of late. I mean, he knocked down Charles Oliveira. He knocked out Conor McGregor. The first person to knock out Conor McGregor in their first fight, which was a big surprise to me. And then he does it again in the second fight. He knocks him out. Of course, there was that injury with McGregor, but still. Just a ton of power in Poirier. I think this fight is going to be fight of the night. I think this fight, honestly, looks a lot like the Gaethje fight, where they literally just stood and banged for 15 minutes. I think it looks a lot like that. But the difference between Gaethje and Poirier is, Poirier is the better technical striker, and Poirier has the better cardio. I think if Justin Gaethje had better cardio, he would have definitely finished Michael Chandler there. And he almost finished him a couple times, but, Gaethje was super tired second, third round. I think Poirier does finish him this time around. I think Poirier does finish him in the second round. I think they're going to stand and bang, like I said. Michael Chandler, he's not going to go for takedowns. That's not been his game in the UFC. If he does that, he's probably going to gas out. Oh, by the way, his gas tank's not good. He's slowing down in a lot of fights. Slowed down massively in that Oliveira fight. Had nothing left in the second round. Is his cardio going to improve at 36 years old? I don't really think so. So, yeah, I do like Poirier here to win. I like Poirier to win this one by knockout. Should be a super fun fight for as long as it lasts. But these guys are going to go to war. Don't really see either guy shooting takedowns. I mean, Chandler, I don't think he is. I mean, it's not something he's done. And then Poirier can wrestle as well, but I think they're gonna strike. I think they're gonna strike here. So it should be a fun fight. Give me Poirier to win this one. I'll take Poirier to win by knockout in, I'll say, the second round. Okay, next we have Carla Esparza going against Zhang Weili. We have the strawweight championship here. We have Zhang Weili, 33 years old, 5'4", with a 63-inch reach, 22-3 and 3-2 in her last 5 fights. Carla Esparza, 33 years old. She is 5'1" with a 63-inch reach, 19-6 and 5-0 in her last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. Zhang Weili, one of the biggest favorites on the card, right behind Blanchfield. She is a minus 360 favorite, opened up minus 150. Carla Esparza opened up plus 130, currently plus 295. And I think a lot of that has to do with people being pissed off at Carla Esparza, because what the heck was that last fight against Rose Namajunas? That fight was 25 minutes long, but that fight felt like an hour long. I mean, nothing happened the entire fight, and she won it. And who won the fight? I mean, you can make a case for a draw, because I thought neither fighter deserved to win that crap fight. But yeah, I think people are really down on Esparza, and I think she's a good wrestler, but that's about it. I mean, she's a good wrestler. She has not evolved her game over the years. I mean, her striking's improved a tad, but is she going to go out there and strike with Zhang Weili? Like, I think on the feet, it's not even close. I think on the feet, Zhang Weili hurts Esparza bad. Esparza's going to have to shoot for her life. I mean, as soon as the fight starts, too. And I just really struggle to see Carla Esparza wrestle Zhang Weili for 25 minutes straight. Because at some point, this fight is going to be at range, and when that is at range, it's Zhang Weili all day. I mean, I kind of see this playing out like one of Esparza's fights back in the day against Joanna, where, she was not able to take down Joanna. She was not able to take down and keep down Joanna. And just on the feet, it was unfair. It was unfair. And then Joanna just beat the crap out of Carla and then eventually finished her. I kind of see that happening here. I mean, Zhang Weili looked phenomenal in her last fight against Joanna. Knocked her out with a spinning back fit. I mean, she looked like a killer, man, in that first and second round. You're knocking out Joanna. I mean, Esparza's not a fourth of a striker of Joanna, an eighth. I mean, it's her striking's not good. I mean, Esparza's going to have to shoot 20 plus takedowns or more to even have a chance. I think it's a horrible matchup for Esparza. I really do. I think Zhang Weili beats the crap out of Esparza. I think Zhang Weili finishes Esparza at some point in this fight, whether it's early, could be early, or it could just be like a big beatdown where she's beating the crap out of Esparza. Could see like a corner stoppage, like a cut stoppage, doctor stop. I guess something like it's going to be a beatdown. I could see Esparza maybe mixing in a takedown, getting a takedown here or there, but like I said, I just struggle to see her doing that over the course of 25 minutes. So I'm going to take Zhang Weili. I'm going to take Zhang Weili to win this fight inside the distance. I think she finishes Esparza in very brutal fashion. And I think she gets the belt back. here. So give me Zhang Weili to win and become the new strawweight champion of the world. Okay, last fight here. Main event. If you guys have not done so, like, subscribe, comment down your significant strikes for this fight. Phenomenal fight. I did break this down already. If you have not checked out that breakdown, you want a little bit more in-depth breakdown, check it out on my channel as well. But we have Adesanya, 33 years old, 6'4", 80-inch reach, 23-1, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Alex Pereira, 35 years old, 6'4", 80-inch reach, 6-1, and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. Adesanya is the favorite. And Adesanya did open up as a minus 200 favorite, currently minus 180. Alex Pereira opened up plus 170, currently plus 155. So the big narrative this week, you're going to hear it a million times, and I'm going to talk about it here, is the fact that Alex Pereira is 2-0 against Israel Adesanya in kickboxing. Went back and watched those fights, and you should. You should go back and watch those fights, even though they were a few years ago. But they're good to go back and watch. And in the first fight, very close fight. Could have went either way. Probably should have went Adesanya's way, but, close fight nonetheless. The second fight, Adesanya was getting the better of the exchanges, winning the fight, and then Alex Pereira knocks him out, which is a huge feather in his cap. I mean, that's, as far as I'm concerned, the only time Adesanya's ever been knocked out in kickboxing or MMA. So, Pereira's 2-0, but this is MMA, and what's interesting about this fight is I think it's going to play out on the feet the entire time. I don't think there's going to be any takedowns from either side. I'd be shocked if there was. If you're expecting Israel Adesanya to wrestle here, I would not really do that. Adesanya's literally completed 0 takedowns ever. So, I mean, I'd be shocked if he did. I mean, would it be smart? Honestly, I don't even think he'd have success doing it. Pereira's takedown defense has looked pretty solid. So, I don't think Adesanya's wrestling regardless. I think they're gonna strike here. And, we're going to have the minute winner in Adesanya, the guy that is going to be, outstriking Pereira. I think Adesanya defensively kind of stuck out to me the most. Like, defensively, he's much better than Pereira. Pereira's the guy that kind of just plots forward, look for that big shot, throws big kicks, but he doesn't mind getting hit. Adesanya, he does mind getting hit. Adesanya, especially nowadays, because went back and watched their kickboxing fights, and he was being a little bit too aggressive. I mean, I'm like, man, Adesanya does not really fight this aggressive anymore. I mean, Adesanya fights very smart. And, people will call him boring. And maybe this is a boring fight. And maybe he should make it a boring fight. Because if he goes in there and gets into a brawl with Pereira, he's getting knocked out. Simple as that. But Adesanya does a really good job, especially nowadays, just avoiding risks. Not getting hit. Not getting hit clean. Not getting hit hard. No wonder the guy's never been knocked down in the UFC, because he does a very good job at not getting hit clean. Even like in the Cannonier fight, like Cannonier hits like a truck. I mean, he did a very good job just not getting hit clean by the guy, just fighting smart. He's a very smart fighter, and people call these smart fighters like the Kamaru Usmans, guys like that, boring. They're winning. Adesanya, at the end of the day, he's 23-1. He's lost one time, and that fight was up at light heavyweight against Jan Blachowicz due to wrestling. So, is Pereira alive to win this fight? I think he is. I think Pereira is a phenomenal fighter, phenomenal kickboxer, and this is going to be a fight that does play on the feet. I think he has a ton of power, and I was kind of looking through the rankings, and I'm like, man, I mean, if Pereira does not beat Adesanya, who is going to beat this guy in the top 15? I mean, I think it would have to be like Chimaev or something coming up to middleweight to even have a chance to be, because, he's already beat a ton of these guys. He's beaten Vettori twice. He's beaten Whitaker twice. He's beaten a lot of these guys. So if someone's going to beat Adesanya, it's probably going to be Pereira, but I don't know. I think he has a puncher's chance. But like I said, I just like the fact that Adesanya just avoids those risks, just fights very smart. I don't think he's going to give Pereira opportunities to land that big shot. So yeah, I like Adesanya here. I like Adesanya to win a quote-unquote boring decision. I mean, people are probably going to be complaining about it, but he doesn't care. I mean, he's going to get the win. So yeah, I like Adesanya by decision. But Pereira scares the crap out of me. I mean, this guy's terrifying. This guy hits like an absolute truck. But like I said, Adesanya just doesn't give these guys opportunities to hit him clean. So we'll see. I think the big cage does favor Adesanya. He's going to be able to avoid those big shots, move around, just avoid, getting into these exchanges with Pereira as much as possible. Just fighting very defensively sound. So I like Adesanya in this one. But yeah, guys, we did it. Got it done just under an hour. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, comment down those significant strikes for the main event there. Check out dfsbythenumbers.com. No bets yet, but there are a couple money lines I'm looking at, a couple props I'm looking at. I'm sure I'll have several bets by the time these fights start. Looking to get on another 3-fight winning streak, back-to-back winning nights on some sketchy cards. This card is a lot less sketchy, which feels nice. Hopefully coming out with another win there. But yeah, lots of content on dfsbythenumbers.com, so check that out. And yeah, other than that, going live Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time after the weigh-ins for my final thoughts, talk some bets, some DraftKings, and then after that, we have the best bet stream. That is on Saturday, 1 hour prior to the prelims. Going to have a full panel on, so make sure you guys tune into that. You can follow me on Twitter, DFS_numbers. My Instagram is DFS by the numbers. I'm going to start posting, well, I have been posting a ton more video content on my Instagram, DFS by the numbers. If you guys do not follow me on there, be sure to do so. If you have any questions, my DMs are always open as well. And yeah, guys, best of luck for UFC 281. Enjoy the card as a fan. And let's see if we can make some money on this card as well. So best of luck, guys. We'll talk to you soon. And see you later.